with Tracy in LA. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Dance Journey. Today we have Chippy Wassung.
Hey, you said it right.
I practiced her last name like 8 times before we started this. But this is my friend Chippy, and we are going to talk about how we know each other, but we don't even
actually
know.
remember.
We don't even know. Well, what's funny is somehow we were following each other on Instagram, but I don't remember how that started.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't remember how I even got connected or how you were on my feed, or I'm not sure.
Literally don't know. Okay, I was like hoping that she knew, but she doesn't know either. But I mean, she's a dancer, and I did sometimes look at her stuff, and I knew we were following each other on Instagram. And then one day I went to church. I go to different churches depending where I'm like staying because I house sit a lot. So when I'm house sitting on the west side, I usually go to a certain church, and I happen to be there. And then, I don't remember how you turned around, or I don't know, you just like
did
saw
like the
me.
greeting, and when you turned around, I was
yeah.
like, oh wait, I know you. And you looked at me like, I don't know you.
At first, well, once she told me her name, then I remembered like her Instagram, but at first I didn't recognize her. And you said something like, I feel like I bumped into a celebrity or something. I don't know. You made me feel famous for a couple seconds.
Amazing.
But yeah, then we were like chatting there, and then I think we started kind of chatting more on Instagram after that. And then had you over one time.
Because then I felt like, oh, I actually know you.
Yeah.
You know, versus
like we've seen each
weird
other.
stalkery
And
on Insta.
we both go to, well, that's the church you go to, and that's the church I sometimes was going to. And then we finally hung out. We still had never taken a dance class together, which we kept trying to do, but like our schedules are too crazy. And we finally did today. So we'll talk about that. So we took a class called Counter Technique, which I did not know that was an actual thing until today. Like that's a thing, like I don't know, what do you call it? Like a...
So it falls under the contemporary genre.
Okay.
But it is like its own technical aesthetic.
Okay.
And I today was also my first time taking that specifically. I've done elements of it mixed in the hybrid class, but it is its own thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So... Counter Technique with Ariel Scott. She teaches at Stomping Ground. Maybe, I don't know if she teaches anywhere else, but that was the class that we took. And wow, that was a very different class for me. It's like, yeah, contemporary vibes, but it's almost like, it was almost harder for me than a contemporary class with a lot of choreography because that's just like what I'm used to. So the Counter Technique, it's a lot about weight shifting and... Yeah, like she gave a lot of good tips. Like
a lot of like engagement and not engagement, awareness of the rib cage and sort of the like energy. It's all about moving like through like an efficiency mentality versus grinding through it. I, like I mentioned earlier, I'm used to sort of a release technique version of contemporary that has more of this like an initiation with one body part takes you to the next, where this is really using the ribs as the initiation, but not in an exaggerated way.
Yeah.
It was very, I felt like my brain had to really think in a different way.
For me too, I had to think about things in a much different way. Like at one point we were kind of falling to the side and then sort of catching ourselves with our other leg, but she would say, don't move your whole body to the side, really fall. So just like pick up your leg and just like lean. She's like, it doesn't take much. Just like lean a little bit, get off center a little bit, and you'll just naturally fall instead of like moving yourself over.
Right.
That was so helpful. I was like, oh, it's almost like less
and that's what
effort.
I mean by efficiency, right? Like versus I need to move a part of my body to fall over. It's like, no, just tilt.
Yeah. It was
go.
easier, but it made your brain like I was like, oh, okay, I have to think about this. And then she did a bunch of like different sort of small phrases or combinations, and then at the end we kind of put it all together, and then my brain was like, wait. I was just mixing up a lot of stuff.
It was really good. Being a teacher, I like really appreciated that it was clearly building on itself, even within that one class. And yes, we were learning phrases that then went into a longer phrase, but it wasn't just taking that exact phrase in its entirety. It was taking like chunks of it. So bite size. It's almost like a charcuterie of a combination of like all of these different things we had progressively worked on throughout the class.
And there were a few girls in the class who've obviously been taking it longer, and I was very grateful for them. I was like, oh, they have it really well, so I'm very much following them, but it helped me a lot, and I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the movement. I really enjoyed her playlist. It was like Indie Adele. I don't know. It was like that kind
Jennifer
of vibe.
Lopez was
but
in
then
there.
It switched up. Yeah. And then it became like, it was the full spectrum, but I really enjoyed all of it. To do some flowy moves to sort of like rap
hard-hitting
at some
beats.
point.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool twist. I like this. So
Yeah.
it was a nice vibe. It was very peaceful, more peaceful than I'm used to of a class. So I almost have to just like slow myself down and be like, okay, Tracy, let's really feel where the weight is. Let's feel where the head is releasing and things like that, which is really good for me because that's something that I definitely struggle with in my contemporary classes. So definitely a helpful class. So yeah.
I think also something to note is, at least what I learned today, is there's like a certification to this technique to teach it. And so I thought that was also interesting.
We talked to the teacher for a little bit afterwards, and we talked to a girl in the class, and she was saying there's only a small amount of people that are certified in the U.S. for counter technique, I guess. But it is being taught different places, and
comes out of Australia.
Oh,
we
yeah,
also learned.
That's right. Yeah, we learned a lot. We asked a lot of questions.
We did,
we were like, what is this counter technique? It's cool. And actually, I loved watching you dance.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Because I wasn't thinking about it till today, but I'm like, I guess I haven't really seen you dance.
I know. My Instagram
really
does not
post
have
it, right?
me. Yeah, no.
I didn't even realize that until today. And then I was watching, I'm like, you did really good. And I loved watching you. You have a very good quality of movement. I really was like, oh, look at her. Oh, yeah, she's a dancer. Like, literally, you're on my dance podcast. I'm like, oh, that's right. She's a dancer. No, so good. Yes. And we were both, trying our best. But you looked great. And I felt good.
Good. Yay.
Yeah.
I love that.
So that was class today. But mostly we just want to learn about Chippy. And it's funny because we hung out not that long ago. Now maybe it was kind of a long time ago because time
I think
is
I was
flying.
on my spring break, so it was months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't we hang out the other day? Like, time is flying. But I feel like we talked about so much, but I feel like I didn't really hear your full dance story. I think we talked more about like life stuff than dance. So I'm kind of excited today to hear your actual dance story. But right now, first, let's hear, what does your dance life, because I know you have a lot going on in life in general.
Yes.
What does it look like right now? Like, what's a typical week for you?
Yep. So I am a dance department chair at a K-12 private school in Santa Monica. And so right now in the summer, I don't teach. So it's full-time mom. I have 4 kids, 13, 7, 4, and 2. So that is like my summer job. I mean, and then come school time, I then have 2 jobs of being a mom, and then also running this program. But I teach a little bit in the elementary school and a lot in the middle school and in the high school.
Hi, everyone. Tracy in LA here. I just want to take a moment to talk to you guys about donations. If you've been liking either of my podcasts, Tracy in LA, the podcast that's about my personal life, or Dance Journey podcast, where I interview dancers and try to help dancers connect more with each other by sharing their stories and being authentic and encouraging and inspiring each other. If you're liking either of these podcasts, please consider donating. You can Venmo me at Tracy in LA, TracyInLA, just like my Instagram. I've been doing these podcasts I've been doing Dance Journey for a couple years now. I started the personal one a few months ago, and I love doing them. I feel called to do both of them for different reasons, but it does take a lot of time, the editing, the planning, the preparing, the shooting of them. And I have gone through all of my savings since I quit my corporate job a couple years ago, and I've just been relying on odd jobs here and there, people letting me live with them in exchange for taking care of their pets and organizing their house and things like that. And it's been amazing. God's been providing for me, but a lot of it is from people giving. So I just want to be a little more direct and open to telling you guys that I would love, if you are listening to these and enjoying them, if you could give financially. That would be so helpful for me to keep going. Please Venmo Tracy in LA, or if there's another way you want to give, please reach out and I can give you any details you need for any way that is your preference for giving. And literally any amount helps, whatever makes sense for you in your current financial situation. I would just love it. I don't have commercials on here, and I don't make money from any of this, and it's a lot of work, and it is a labor of love. It's something that I love to do, but it is a lot. And if you're part of the community of listening to these podcasts it would be so cool if you could also be part of my financial support. If you want to know more details about the money that I currently have and what I need, I talk about that pretty openly on my personal podcast. So if you want to hear those details, you can start listening to those, or my email newsletter. You could sign up for my email newsletter. There's a link to that in my Instagram bio, and I send those out usually once a month, and I give more details about my money as well, and just tell fun stories and things God is doing. So yeah, thanks for listening to this. Thanks for considering donating, and back to the podcast. What does it mean that you're the dance department chair?
Yeah, good question. So I oversee sort of like making sure scope and sequence is there. I'm not the one writing curriculum. That's teachers have autonomy in doing that. But then really finding ways of collaborating amongst teachers, amongst different grade levels, making sure that what's happening in elementary school is preparing them for the middle school curriculum, things of that nature. Producing shows, we do a lot of dance films. So producing those, and it's a lot of budgets, keeping budgets. Mentoring students. I mean, there's a lot of elements to it that's like beyond just what happens in teaching in the classroom or in the studio.
Are you sitting in a lot of classes with teachers to like observe, or are you having a lot of meetings with them?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Both. I would say probably more talking and meeting than I am observing. I wish it was flipped. It's just for the sake of like our schedules that we tend to teach at the same time, which is kind of a bummer. I wish it was opposite. That's one of the things I miss about being in grad school, is that we had to do so much observation of other teachers, and I feel like you get so much out of that, whether it's ideas or seeing how the same students that you teach, that they teach, how they're reacting in a different class, and might give you different insight on working with them. There's just so much potential that happens through observation that goes beyond the giving them feedback as teachers.
How long have you been doing this job for as the chair?
As the chair, I think I started in 2017. That sounds right.
Okay.
But I was at the school prior to that, not in this position.
Okay.
For a few years. And then I did a similar position, but at a dance team charter school on the other side of town. But that was just K through 8th grade.
Okay.
And then before that, I was in grad school. So I have my master's in dance education, specifically K through 12 focus, and a teaching credential.
When you were at this current school before you became the chair, were you teaching dance?
I was, and overseeing a program. And at that school, it was a dance theme school, or it's still around, is a dance theme school. So kids take dance every day as part of their normal just school day. And so we had many dance teachers. I think we had
at your current school or this other
previous school.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had 12 dance teachers that I oversaw as well as taught.
Wow. When you're teaching, or I guess when school starts right now, when you start teaching classes, what styles are you teaching?
That's a great question. So it depends. So in the elementary school, I direct the spirit dance team. So it has more of a sort of dance team-ish vibe where they perform at half times. It's like that sort of nature. And then so every student in my school from kinder through 7th grade has to take dance as part of their arts rotation. Okay. So then in 6th grade, my focus there is teaching them about dance elements, getting them to understand and analyze what they see in dance. So it's not just I like it, I don't like it. It's like having vocabulary and an understanding of why do you like what you see, or why don't you, or what does that remind you of, or like giving them that vocabulary while also embodying choreography and elements and taking constructive criticism, things of that nature. Working with peers, they do choreography with peers and things like that. So that's 6th grade. 7th grade, the curriculum is focused on breakdancing with learning hip-hop culture history.
Nice.
And we bring in a guest artist to teach breakdancing.
Okay.
I can mimic breakdancing. No, not really. But I also feel very passionate about like something that is very like codified should be taught by someone who's an expert. And so I fortunately have the capability and resources to bring in guest artists for things like that.
That's awesome.
And then they do a big battle, 7th graders amongst each other, which is super sweet and kind. Then in 8th grade, they focus on more of a contemporary style mixed in with jazz. And then high school is definitely jazz, contemporary, mixed in. We lean more on concert dance in that vocabulary. Many of my students take dance outside of school at a dance studio. Some do competition, some do not. And so when developing this program, I felt like if they want to go on to do dance in the collegiate setting, what is going to make them different than the thousands of other dancers that are at dance studios, do multiple competitions, have won X amount of awards, is to give them more of a concert dance aesthetic.
Okay.
To kind of have a whole dancer education. Yes. So, like, for example, well, I don't teach counter technique, but the idea of, like, it's not just a typical contemporary class. We're going in with, like, a little bit of release technique, and mixed in with also some, this year they're starting to do some pedagogy of, like, how do you teach dance and why? Why do you teach specific things at different ages, and what are your expectations, learning human development, things of that nature. So our kids have gone on to really great dance programs, either as a dance major or a dance minor, or even as a different major, but they're still dancing through their college experience.
That's cool. And then the kids that go to this school, some of them choose dance as a concentration, or are all of them doing dance?
So kinder through 7th grade, they all take all the arts from dance, chorus, visual art, photography, things of that nature. In 8th grade, they get to narrow down and they choose two things to focus on. And then in high school, they have to take at least 2 years of an art.
Okay.
Yeah. So most kids will focus on the concentration, whether it's film or dance or music or drama, whatnot. Some kids will still dabble and do 1 year of something, another year of a different thing. And then you have some other kids who are like doing all 4 years in an art to really like develop that skill.
Okay. That's really cool. I like how it kind of forces them to try everything beforehand.
It's like a little taster.
Yeah, because they might think this is what I like. That's what they see themselves as.
Right.
But then when they're actually doing it, they might discover, oh, actually, I really like this.
Exactly.
Or I have more of a talent in this or something. So
Right.
It's really cool.
Right, exactly. And I think our school is not a conservatory, but we are an arts-focused school. And so
What's the difference?
Good question. So conservatory is where they're like training 3-4 hours a day every day as part of their technical and academic day. Where an arts-focused school, they have a plethora of arts at their fingertips and a menu to explore and dive into, but they may not be doing it every single day. It's multiple times a week, or it's built into their schedule throughout the week.
So there's like a little bit more of a balance with just like the regular standard studies and stuff. And do most kids that go there go from kindergarten, or what does it start?
Kindergarten.
Yeah, kindergarten through senior year. Do a lot of kids stay the whole time?
Kindergarten starts with about 52 students, and I would say somewhere between, 75 to 90% of them stay all the way through 12. Some explore other schools as they get to different developmental ages, but just depends. But then there's more kids that come in, so that kindergarten class of 52 gets bigger as they get older.
Okay, so you don't have to start there in kindergarten.
Correct.
But it seems like a good school for really developing from the very beginning how it's like set up and structured.
Yes.
That's cool. Wow. And then you said you make a lot of, or you oversee or do a lot of dance films and things like that. You produce them. Does that get posted anywhere?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because I was like, oh, I want to see these.
Yes. So it gets posted on our school website or our school socials or whatnot. The person that was my collaborator at the school before she moved up north, she was very much into dance films. And she has like this very lovely, honestly, like blows my mind away creative eye for dance for camera or dance in front of the camera. And so she kept wanting to explore it. And so we dabbled in it a little bit here and there. Then COVID happened, and it was like you had to. Like you had no other choice. Professional companies, everything, right? Just by default of circumstance. And so our curriculum had to shift, even if our curriculum had a shift where we had to really teach our students like about cinematography, about editing and things of that nature, and how there's the roles that happen in front of the camera as well as behind the camera. And then that just sort of stuck as part of one of our tenets of our curriculum at the high school level.
Okay.
So by the time that our kids have gone through the high school, they've had multiple opportunities to be in front of the camera as well as an opportunity behind the camera. And when they're in front of the camera, it's typically we again, I feel very passionate about bringing in professionals for that in their field, for that experience for them. So we will hire professional crew.
Okay.
DP, editor, one of us as a dance teacher, or we'll bring in the dance teacher who used to be there that moved. We'll bring her back to direct or choreograph, things of that nature. But they're getting that real on-set experience, even if it's something that's happening on our school campus. It still feels very. Yeah, and our parents will create a craft services. Like, it's very sweet and also cool. Very tender. But we've done anything from multiple one-shots that go through our campus, which also, that's great for them to explore how to do a one-shot and how you just keep doing it over and over. And then we've also done, edited films, not on campus, not in a theater, that have been random in, like, Rustic Canyon in a park, or the last one we did was at a studio in Miracle Mile. Like, it really varies to give them different experiences with it.
Are the kids at all involved in the ideas and the creations of this, or is it the dance teacher or you guys?
That's a great question. It depends. We've kind of done a little bit of everything to give them exposure through different lanes.
Okay.
But I will say all of our and because we have a professional crew, we can submit them to dance film festivals. And so far, all of our films that have been not one shots on campus, but just in a different degree have been either acknowledged through chosen to be screened at a film festival, or have actually won awards. So we did a multimedia dance film that was combining with mocap and things of that nature, and it was chosen by Activision. It played at the LA Live video billboard for 14 days or something like that. Yeah.
But is this you're submitting them to dance film festivals? Correct. That's so interesting, because I have more of a background of, I guess, as far as in this area, my background would be like in acting. So I just think of like the standard film festival, but I guess I didn't realize there was dance film festivals.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe I've heard of things, but I just forgot. But that's really cool.
Yeah, we should go to one, because they have screenings all the time. It's really fascinating to see what, creatives are doing in that way. And the way that you film for a dance film is very different than in an acting or commercial. Yeah. You're looking for different things. The lens is capturing things differently. It's not always about getting the entire line from fingertip to toe, right? It's like, it's very, it's a neat experience. And again, just really great for our students to explore and experience.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
And I want to watch these films.
Oh,
you can send me a link or something.
I will.
Okay, so that's mostly your life when you're during the school year.
Yes.
During the summer, do you have to prepare for stuff for the school year, or is it kind of already set because you've been doing it so long?
I try, a little bit of both. I do try my best to, before the school year ends, prepare for the following school year as much as possible, so that my summer is very much dedicated to my kids.
Yeah.
I think the real, in a way, heroes in my life are my 4 kids and my husband, in the sense that they, aside from me really unconditionally loving them, but they sacrifice so much during the school year. There's so many weekends, late hours during performances, or film shoot days or things like that, where there are times where I will not see my kiddos, because by the time I get home, they're in bed and I'm waking up before them to go back to set, or whatever the case may be. So I think that is one of the biggest struggles right now, is just finding that sort of work-life balance. And I love that they can see that, mom really is passionate about what she does, and that's great. And there's a way for, I think maybe a little bit more balance to happen at times. I listened to a podcast with Shonda Rhimes, and she said the theory of, as a mom, you can have it all. Be a great mom and be super fabulous at home and at work. You can have it all. She's like, that is not possible. And she's, she created Grey's Anatomy, all of those amazing television series. But her thing is you can have it all, you just can't have it all at once. She's like, so there are days when I make sure I'm going to my, daughter's performance, but that means I'm missing something being filmed on set that is probably a pivotal moment in the script or whatnot.
Yeah.
She's like, or where I'm there on set seeing that moment being filmed, but I'm missing my daughter's fill in the blank, right? So, yes.
That's interesting. It actually makes me think of when I used to have my corporate job, but I was getting really into dance, and I was taking a lot of dance classes after work. And then all of a sudden they were trying to promote me to management, which I wasn't trying to do. And I was like, ooh, I don't know, because now I'm like really into dance. I'm like racing after
Yeah.
work to dance. So if I have to be a manager, I might have to like sometimes stay late or like, I don't know. But I have this tendency to get really obsessed and workaholic-y with stuff. So when I like prayed about it, I felt like it actually was a good idea to take the management position because I was like, actually, this will keep me from being too obsessed with either thing. Like, I'll have to once in a while miss a dance class and not go crazy because I missed one class. Like, everything's going to be fine. And, like, I might sometimes, like, not stay at work 5 hours late every day because that's also something that I would naturally do. Like, well, I just want to get every single thing done. I'm just going to stay here really late. But with having dance classes to go to, I'd be like, okay, no, I do want to get out of here.
It gave you a hard out.
Yeah, so it kind of like actually allowed me to have more balance in my life and not get too crazy in either direction. So that's what kind of reminds me of. But sometimes you just have to like, today's a day to focus more on this. Today's a day for this. And guess what? Everyone's still alive and it's fine.
Right, exactly.
Because our world is so like, I think we're often like, you need to be focused on one thing and do it all the time and be, but like, you can still be really good at something, but also have some other areas of interest and focus, and like it's all going to be okay.
Exactly,
and it can influence each other.
Oh,
like your time with your kids can also help you be more knowledgeable about the things you're doing at school, and just knowing more about life to bring into your dances and everything. So, but also I'm curious, do any of your kids? What is the age range of your kids again?
13, 7, 4, and 2.
Okay,
I mean crazy.
Oh my gosh. I do like looking at your Instagram at all your kids. They're so cute, especially the 2-year-olds. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. Sweet. But do any of them do dance?
So my son used to. He was a break dancer. Identified as a break dancer, like whatnot. And then he hit middle school. Middle school, so awkward. And so he does not identify as a break dancer. Is
that your oldest?
That's my eldest.
Okay.
Yeah. And my second, we put her in ballet class, and at her first performance, she knew the choreography. She also knew the music so well that she knew there was a bump, bump, bump right in the middle. And so she was supposed to go with a partner and like chasse upstage. She just ghosted her partner, went up downstage, turned around, and on the bump, 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 like shook her butt to the audience.
Oh, wait, did you post that?
On purpose. I don't know.
I'm like, why does this sound familiar? Maybe it just sounds like something that would be on Instagram.
Probably. And her poor partner like chassed with an imaginary dancer. Anyways, at that point, I'm like, I think she's meant to be a comedian, not a dancer.
That's hilarious. But did she like it? Did she want to keep
not
doing
really.
dance? She was like, I just want to be a star and do whatever I want.
Yes, all eyes on me, but yeah.
That's hysterical.
Not the hard work. But my third, who's now 4, she is, 1,000%.
Okay.
Even she'll hear music and she just...
Wow.
It's so sweet.
So probably contemporary
I
at
think,
some point.
Yes, for sure. Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's
She's
fun.
very sweet.
And
then the 2-year-old, he doesn't.
He's trying to walk. And,
Cute.
I don't know. Some kids, when they're 2, dance. I don't know.
Yeah. No, not him.
No, you're like, not him, not yet. Anyways, that's so fun. Yeah. And so, do they also watch your like shows or?
Yeah. So my eldest watched probably a lot more when he was like the only child or like whatnot. But now, like I said, they're like the unsung heroes in my life because they really. It's like almost harder if they were to come to my shows and then have to say goodbye to me and then you know what I mean, like it's because it's not like we're going together and leaving together. And
you have to work.
Yes, So no, they don't. Even though my 2 eldest go to the same school that I teach at, they still don't necessarily see what I do.
Yeah. So, and I feel like we talked about this last time we hung out, but I mean, you've been doing this for a while, but you still really love it, right? Or
I do.
It's still a big passion and you enjoy it.
It is definitely a passion. I mean, how it came to be, maybe I could go into that story. So I was a dance major at UCLA. My sophomore year, I dislocated my knee in West African dance class.
Wow.
That's not why, not like that forced me to, but anyways. And I had to rehab it for, I don't know, probably 2 quarters worth of an academic year. But I couldn't just not take dance courses for my major. And so I took all of the non-tech. I was trying to get through all my non-technique classes.
And this is before you got into dance education.
Correct. This is the story of how even dance education came to be. So I had to take courses like art in the community, somatics in Bartenia fundamentals, Laban notation, like all of these sort of things. I was like, I don't even know what those are, but it was part of our major requirements. And one of the courses was a pedagogy class. And that's when I was like, oh, it was like clearly there was a flame that was like an ember that was burning inside of me. And then it just took me. And at the time, what I was so fascinated by was this idea of teaching dance, but using academic content while using dance content to teach the academic content. So for example, let's say first graders are learning about solids, liquids, and gases. So I could have them chasse across the floor like a solid. Then I could have them chasse like a gas. How is that different? The gas has more of like a lightness to them versus the heaviness of an ice or of a frozen, that type of thing. So they're learning through a kinesthetic modality while still learning that chasse exists. Right? And it still gives them that like sense. So has a little bit of creative movement, but with a little bit more intentionality of like academia focus. Or at my previous job, I did a lot of classroom teacher professional development. So they could do movement in their classroom, not technical wise, but use movement to teach. And I wrote a unit with a teacher of the digestive system, of like how it travels through, including like a group being the poop coming out, like and how that travels differently than like, other things that come out of our body. So it sounds so silly, but I was super fascinated and have always been fascinated with that. It wasn't actually until I got to my current school that it really turned more into like a technical training ground focus on my end.
And so do you feel like because you were injured, you were more focused on those type of classes, which got you interested in doing the dance education?
And I actually thought, okay, once I was able to fully participate in my technique classes, I thought, that stuff's going to push away. And I'm more of a performer and things of that nature. But it didn't. It kept sort of coming back. And so when I graduated, I actually thought maybe I will explore dance education after graduation. But I was also very fascinated by somatics and the understanding of like, why did I get injured, especially like dislocation of the patella is like such a common thing with dancers, especially teenagers and like young adults. And it really has to do with not properly cross-training. Like the inner thigh is much more weak than the outer thigh. So the outer thigh muscle is pulling that kneecap out of its place, and like, anyway, so, but I was really interested in somatics and like using breath to help with your dance movement. Like you probably heard me in class. I like do a lot of purposeful exhale out through because I feel that really changes the dynamic of the way that you're moving,
No, that's so good. And that's so good for me. I was going through the pieces I performed recently for the show I was in. I was going through them for my roommate, and one of them I did for her, and she was like, that was really good. Were you breathing at all? I was like, I don't know, and that's the problem. I don't know because I'm not thinking about it. But I did notice you breathing a lot in class today, and I was like, it was making me like, oh yeah, I should breathe. I need to breathe.
I'm constantly telling my students that if like, even if it doesn't come natural, sometimes you have to, as a dancer, almost choreograph where your breath is going to happen, right? It's like when you're like, the exhale can come out when you're like releasing through, or, the inhale can happen when you're going into that pirouette. Or maybe for your body, the exhale actually helps with that pirouette. Kind of, you have to find what works ergonomically for your body and your execution.
There was a period of time when I was working virtually with a teacher out of New York, doing private lessons a lot, and we were working on turns a lot, and I was practicing turns all the time, and one night I just had a revelation. I was like, oh my gosh, if I breathe when I'm turning, like I think I was breathing out on like every turn or something. I was like, that really helped me. And then he was like, oh yeah, breathing when you turn. Yeah, that's a new idea. Like, I was like, yeah, I think I'd hold my breath. I'm just like, go around,
Right.
But yeah.
Well, and the holding, right, like if you're thinking about pirouette, holding your breath, typically your shoulders then go up, right?
Yeah,
and then you like tense here, which then like the momentum of the turn and being able to stack your body on top of itself to actually get around once or even multiple times. It's like ergonomically, it's like not possible, right? When you think about it from a engineering of the body sort of perspective. Yeah.
So interesting.
Breath is very, very big.
So that's a little bit about how you got to where you are now, but let's go all the way back because I definitely don't know this story.
I'm 44. Going all the way back is a long time.
We can do it. No. But did you grow up in California?
I did. I grew up in San Gabriel Valley area, and I danced. So I started dance. This is actually a funny story. I don't even know if I've told you this story. Did I tell you how I started?
Well, either way,
we're going to tell you now. So. Okay. So I was born knock-kneed, And this is back in the early.
Oh,
do you remember
I think
this
you
now?
did, but let's
Okay.
let's share
This
it.
is back in the early 80s where being born knock-kneed, like the only solution for it, where they were going to put these like metal braces on my top, from the top of my knee to my ankle with a iron bar in between.
And
to, like,
knock-kneed,
pull.
meaning your knees were just sort of turned into each other? Or
They
how
were-
do you describe that?
So I think there's different definitions depending on the body, but for my case specifically, it's that my knees, they like overlapped. So they didn't turn in,
Okay.
but they like overlapped on each other. So I'm going to do this
Oh, okay.
versus,
Like each knee?
yeah,
Like, they-
one went on top of the other, kind of like,
Okay.
not when I was walking specifically, but
If
like
you were
in
standing
parallel
straight?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it didn't hurt anything. I think it was more the doctor was like, this could lead to knee problems, could lead to whatever. Probably did lead to knee problems, but for different reasons. Anyhow, so he said, we need to put these braces on. And my mom was like, there has to be a more like conservative way or alternative way to try before kind of going this route. Because I think at the time I was 2 and I would have had to wear these braces for like a absurdly amount of time, not just when I slept.
Okay.
And she was like, no, this is what, okay.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, very like flippant, like, well, you can try putting her in ballet. They'll teach her how to like rotate from the hip and see if that helps. So I just did my mom signed me up for a Parks and Rec ballet class in our neighborhood. And I mean, I think I liked it. It wasn't like oh my gosh, this is my passion forever. But what sort of changed that trajectory is then fast forward, I'm 3 and I'm at preschool. And back then in the 80s, they had these like tapes with the book. So you'd put the tape in
Yeah.
the tape recorder, it would read the book to you, and like it would have a ding and you turn the page and whatnot. Anyway, so I asked my mom if I could take that for show and tell. And so she's like, ooh, of course, my studious daughter wants to take a book to show and tell. And I snuck my Madonna Like a Virgin tape in my backpack or my pocket and took that to school instead.
Wait, so it was all a trick to be able to get what you wanted?
Apparently. Now, at that time, Madonna's Like a Virgin, like it was like #1 on the pop charts.
Yeah.
And I also, we owned the VHS of her tour. So I would watch it over and over and over and like had memorized choreography because I'd watched it over and over and over.
And how old were you?
3.
You were only 3? That's
Yes,
so funny.
yes.
Okay.
I mean, to tell you how much I watched it, we had to go through 3 different VHS tapes because I would wear them out. Like they would.
But your parents were aware that you were just like watching
Yes.
this all the time?
You had to. I had a very young mom, single mom. Like I think she was like, sure,
She's
it's
like, okay,
fine.
if you like it.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And anyhow, so I take my cassette player and my Madonna tape with me, and I did a full performance for my show and tell to Like a Virgin. Full on, minus the boa. But
my
I
gosh.
owned a boa, but it was at home because I didn't take it with me to preschool. But
Oh my gosh.
full thing. So my mom goes to pick me up, and the director's like, "So we need to talk to you," and and tells her what I did. And my mom says she was like profusely sweating, like, "Oh my gosh, my daughter is going to get kicked out of preschool because." She's like, and I mean, much respect to the director because she could have, but instead she said, so we researched some ballet schools, like dance studios that we think you should look at, and so we can direct that energy elsewhere. Anyway, so that's how I went from being at just a local Parks and Rec class into a dance
So
studio
it's good
class.
that you did that.
See, there you go.
It
was
worked
meant to
out. Like,
happen.
wow, that's so funny. I mean, I think that would be pretty impressive. Did you do like the exact dance?
I mean,
like,
probably in my 3-year-old iteration
whatever
of it, but still, it was enough for them to be like,
gleaned from it. That is so funny. I'm sure that it was very entertaining. But then, okay, so then you started taking more ballet.
So, and then I took primarily ballet
Okay.
growing up. And then when I was 9, auditioned for a pre-professional ballet company and did that
Wow.
all the way until I graduated high school.
Oh, wow. So you
And
got
so-
into it, and then that was
I
your
did, yes.
thing that you did after school? Or did you go to a regular school?
Regular school,
Okay.
yeah, but I trained 6 days a week, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Pretty intensive, yeah.
All ballet. Did you do anything
All that.
else?
We would do like little sporadic things of like jazz or sometimes musical theater or modern, but it was the amount of ballet compared to those was significantly more.
Okay, and it was with this company.
And so we would train mostly in like a Balanchine vocabulary.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was it. Now, then when I became a teenager, it's like I'm clearly not going to have the ballet body. Like I've always been more of the like muscular, broad, physique. I'm also short. I'm not even 5'2", just barely. On a good day, I'm 5'2". And so I knew I wasn't going to be a professional ballerina.
This is so sad, though.
But I know. Well, this is also like, late 90s, which it's very, I think, hopefully has made some progressions. Maybe not much, but now.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so I knew I wanted to go to college for dance. I also knew that I missed out a lot on my high school, experience. Not going to football games consistently, or not being able to do things I don't know, the school spirit aspects of it. I did a little bit more when I was a junior and senior, because I was kind of rebelling against dance.
Okay.
And the amount of hours that it was requiring of me. But even then, I was still kind of had a strong hold to it. So all that's to say is I knew I wanted to go to college for dance, but I did not want to go into a conservatory BFA program. I wanted something where I could have that collegiate experience.
Yeah.
So I was only looking at programs of that nature. But even then, I didn't really know. I didn't know that I should be researching the program itself, not just the school. You know what I mean? Because each dance program, the school might be great and what you're looking for, but the program in dance might not be of your aesthetic, or may not be what you're looking for, things of that nature. But everything happens the way it's supposed to. So I ended up going to UCLA as a dance major, but I was my audition was on point. And we took ballet, but it was definitely not a ballet-centric program. But at the same time, that really opened my eyes to wait, what is all this other?
Yeah.
There's more than just this very Eurocentric approach to dance. Mm-hmm. It was a game changer for me, especially coming from my body physique doesn't fit the aesthetic that I'm in, and kind of constantly but who am I within that aesthetic, and feeling like a little bit of an imposter because I didn't match it, but I was really good in it, to be honest, So anyhow, in college is where I discovered my real movement voice of finding out this thing called jazz and contemporary. And in the early 2000s is where contemporary that we know kind of established itself, right? Where it was a mixture of different things versus being codified as you're doing Graham technique, you're doing Horton, that still existed, but it also, things were just breaking. The onion was peeling apart a little bit more.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to remind you quickly that if you haven't bought my book, The Tracy in LA Newsletters 2010, please get it. It's on Amazon. You can get the paperback version, or you can get the Kindle version. It is a compilation of a bunch of actual letters I wrote and sent in the actual mail back in 2010 when I was first living in LA pursuing acting. A bunch of my friends who didn't live in LA thought it was so interesting that I was pursuing acting and wanted to hear more about it. So I basically just am super vulnerable. I talk about all the things I was going through, the doubts I was having, the struggles I was having, finding agents, getting auditions, making friends, visiting different churches, totally just pour myself out in these letters. And I didn't really necessarily think I would ever publish them, but I went back all these years later and decided to edit them, change some names, and make it in a way where I could actually publish it and release it to the public. So that's what this is. I'm working on the 2011 letters right now. I have quite a few years that I did this, and people really liked it when I did it initially. And now I've gotten some good feedback on the book as well, even from people that never read it initially or didn't know me back then. It sort of feels like a period piece now because it's from 2010. So some of the language I use is just different. And, I talk about burned CDs and things like that. So anyway, I think it's kind of fun, and hopefully you could relate because most of you probably are in LA doing similar things. So I hope you can get it and enjoy it. And if you like it, please leave a review on Amazon, and let me know what you think, and thank you for your support.
I think the other thing that really made a difference is it was the first time, in college was the first time where I was forced to really understand the historical context behind each dance form, and realizing that, there's so many generations of people that came before me or before what we know as this aesthetic today that influence, or history literally that has influenced the way it is from where it started, and just being so fascinated with that. So I just find that I bring that into my teaching now. I think it's so important for dancers to know where things come from, even if it's not super in depth, but just things, every every dance aesthetic has a history,
Yeah.
right? Even hip hop, it's a newer history compared to some of the other genres, but it still has its own history in its own right, you know?
Yeah. So that's obviously, you were so interested in learning the history, and it probably that is part of what made you realize you want to teach and be involved in the education of dance and not just dancing.
So between the like finding it really being so maybe this is like one of the tenets of my teaching philosophy is like learning the historical context and going back to that somatics roots of like that using your body as an instrument in the same way that a scientist like is constantly refining and cleaning and whatnot their microscope. Like dancers, this is your instrument, is your body, and you constantly have to be refining it, whether it's through cross training or stretching or rest or hydration and nourishment. You know, like there's just, I think sometimes as dancers, it's so easy for us to just like go with our body, not really thinking about what it needs to be fed, both spiritually, emotionally, and physically, to keep it sustain that go.
Yeah.
You know?
What is your go-to to share with someone how they can be cross-training?
Yeah. So I'm very passionate about cross-training with, it doesn't even have to be like weight specifically, but cross-training all of the muscles that you don't normally use in whatever form of dance that you are focused on, right? So, most dancers have a weaker inner thigh, so definitely inner thigh, working on balance of the ankle. So many dancers, right, it's very easy to sprain your ankle, but then they don't rehab it properly, so it's always weaker, which then leads to like knee problems, which then leads to hip problems. Like it's all stacked on top of it, right? It's all, so I really love Sugarfoot therapy. Is a big recommendation I give my students when they get injured. Sugarfoot therapy is actually based here in Southern California, out in the Valley. You should look it up. It's really fascinating. They do cross training specifically for dancers and rehab for dancers. They have online sort of courses, or you can go in person. Highly recommend for any dancers in LA to take a look at that.
Nice. And also, we never really talked about, did your knee situation when you were little get straightened out when you were 2 or 3?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it did, but I mean, like, how long did that take? Or?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just one of those things where the doctor was like, well, I guess she's doing it consistently. I mean, even when I stand right now with my like legs together, like purposely, not just parallel under my hips, but just together, there is a little bit of like an overlap on them, but it doesn't
It almost doesn't matter, or like maybe they made too big of a deal out of it.
I think
or maybe
so.
The ballet just helped, and
who knows? Yes and yes.
Like, that's so interesting. It's cool that your mom really like
pushed against,
asked about it.
I agree.
And didn't just like go with what they said. That is so important.
Yeah.
With doctors, and I've had so many situations like that where I've had to like really figure out what was best for me and like really communicating and asking questions, stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, that's so interesting. I feel like I want you to write a book about all of this, and then I'm going to read it. Okay. Because
that's so funny.
I feel like you have so much helpful information that probably I don't really know. Getting involved in dance like so late, and like, I mean, I learned a lot from getting injured because I was just going, not even realizing any of that stuff mattered. Oh, a day off that actually will help you be a better dancer, or that will help your flexibility if you take a day off. I didn't know that. Like, and then when I got injured, which turned into many other injuries because it all stacks, it was crazy. And different doctors telling me different things, and that was confusing. Resting too long, not doing physical therapy soon enough, and then more injuries. And one of my biggest things was like when I finally tried to go back to dance, because I had a little bit of pain afterwards, I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't dance. Like, I was so afraid. I wanted to be able to dance like forever. And I was so afraid of screwing that up with this injury. So I was just like, oh my gosh, there's pain. I guess I can't go back yet. And it took a physical therapist who finally told me, oh, that's okay. Like,
it's part of the
you
healing
haven't danced
process
for a while, so you're going to have some pain. But she said, like, if you do a dance class or something and then the next day you have some pain, that's fine. See if it starts to go away in the next few days. If it does, or like gets a little better, then go to that class again the next week, or try a different class the next week. You have a little pain afterwards. Okay, great. Now, is it going away? Okay, great. Then take another class, and then slowly like build yourself back up to like, oh, now you can try 2 classes now. And that is like kind of all I needed. I just needed someone to tell me that it was like okay. I didn't really mind the pain. It was just like, I don't want to make it worse. I don't want to not be able to dance forever because I danced too early. And I think I could have actually not been injured for an entire year if I had known that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I really like didn't dance for like almost a whole year, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to dance like ever again. It's kind of what I thought. But now I'm like, and so many people have gotten injuries and then been like, oh, it's never this, it's good, like I can dance, but it's kind of never the same. And I know that's some people's stories. For me, it's like I was never injured. I almost feel stronger than before.
That means that you properly rehabbed it, and that's amazing.
Accidentally. But
funny.
yeah, it was like going back to dance really healed it, like building that muscle. I read this book that really helped me. It was this professional, I'm trying to think of the name of the book. Shoot. But it's a professional, I guess he's sort of famous, but I can't think of his name. But there's a book about him that he wrote, and it goes into, he got injured when he was like 30, and he'd already danced in like every best company and whatever. And people were just saying you should just retire at that point because he was injured, and he kept going to physical therapists and they kept not being able to help him. And then he was going to almost just be done with ballet. And then they encouraged him to go to this like Australian team. He went to Australia to work with this physical therapy team. And so anyway, the book details all this stuff he went through to like make it better. And I happened to read that book when I was about to completely like give up and just be like, I'm just never going to get healed.
Oh, yeah.
And I really feel like God like somehow put that book in front of me, because it was really weird how I discovered that book. And gosh, I really want to think of the name of it now. But yeah, that last section of the book where it details all the physical therapy and the emotional struggle he went through with that, it like gave me all this insight, and it reinvigorated me to try again and find another physical therapist. And that's when I found the physical therapist that finally was like, you can go back to dance even though there's pain. And I had gone to so many doctors and physical therapists before that. And not to say they were all bad. Like some of them helped me in other ways, but it's just crazy how that was the one that like pushed me over. And that book really gave me the like mental encouragement, because sometimes you just need that hope to like keep going.
Sure.
Because you're like, I've tried 85 things. Like, obviously nothing is working.
Right.
You know?
Two things I thought of while you were saying that is, one, especially as a dancer who is older, Pilates has really changed like my the way that my attunement to my body, and in different ways. That's not just like constant movement, that is a little bit more in like a stacked proper, like I can even find myself while I'm dancing remembering elements in that I've learned in Pilates and applying them, and it really makes a difference. The other thing I thought of is like intuition. Like really, as I've become older, I've really tried to like think about like the mind-body connection, like what does my body need right now versus what is my brain telling my body that it should do, if that makes sense. Whether that's rest, or like, no, go take a Pilates class, or go for a walk, or yes, that pain is pain, but it's because it's new muscles that have atrophied it versus it being like an injury. Like really tuning in to...
But wait, so what would you want to listen to more, your brain or what your body is
My
feeling?
body.
Okay.
My body, at least for me. And I think
maybe
someone else could be...
Could be a mix of both,
I think
but
it's a mix of both, but being aware.
And not just going with the logical, like the first logical
Correct.
thing, but really taking everything into consideration. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the third thing I was thinking about, oh my gosh, it's so random, but my son and I watched this Netflix series. I think it's like Starting Five or something. It's like it followed 5 professional basketball players on like one of their seasons, and like it was more about what they did off the court than it did like on the court, just to see the background life, and not in a reality TV like drama sort of way, and just like a it was probably a docu-series more than anything. But it made me think, obviously I'm no like LeBron James, but it's that idea that like they actually do so much rehab off the court that like, clearly their body like puts up with so much, right? Whether it's like massage or other body work or icing or whatnot. And I think we take for granted, I think that our culture takes for granted that dancers are athletes, and we need to start rehabbing our body, not just when we're injured, but like on the regular, for sustainment of being able to do what we do well and in a healthy way.
Yeah. Wow, time is flying. I'm like, we've gone for 50 minutes. I have a couple. Well, is that kind of brings us up to where your life, or did we miss some things?
No, I don't think so.
You just kind of got more into dance education, or you wanted to do that, then you went back to school for that.
So I went back to school. I went to NYU to get my master's in dance ed, and that was a really great experience. At the time, it was the early 2000s, and most public elementary schools in New York had dance as part of their curriculum.
Nice.
And so doing so much observation, really being mentored by some really great people, Deborah DeMass, Barbara Bashaw, Jody Arnold, like just really, I I feel really lucky to have been there during that season of my life, because I feel like it really changed the trajectory of like what I thought of as myself.
Okay.
You know, and I still like look to them for guidance and whatnot. So I think if I had to think about like what is my next step in my career, I would eventually love to teach the next generation of teachers.
Okay.
And, you know, I think that could one just go in and teach, you know, a little kid class, a pre-ballet class, or even an intermediate class after dancing for decades? Absolutely. I also think, though, that you can have so much more potential and impact if you are learning the art of teaching.
Yeah.
And really understanding developmental stages and human development. And the, you know, I grew up of the era where there was just a lot of mimicking. Like I mimicked what my teachers did. I'm sure they were wonderful and gave me, you know, feedback and whatnot, but just it wasn't speaking my language, so to speak, for me to dive into understanding their feedback. So I was just doing a lot of mimicking and not knowing why I was doing what I was doing or how to do it.
Yeah.
Like even today in class, there were times where I'm like, I'm just going to copy what this teacher or what the person in front of me is doing. And every feedback I felt like was specifically for me. So I'm like, right, you're right. I'm not in tune with where my rib cage is or my back body or things of that nature. So I would just love to, to teach others how to teach and value that in its own right.
Because right now you're a little more like program focused versus like really teaching how to teach and that kind of thing.
I'm teaching myself and then program focused, like program development, things of that nature. And I would love to, you know, think of it in a slightly different way of next generation has to do something.
Here you go. I think I'm just a prophet for you, because I think you just need to write this book that includes all the knowledge you know, and then you can go around speaking, and then you can do like teaching seminars. I have your plan. I have your future plan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But really, that would be so cool. I would love to like learn more from you and hear that. That's really neat.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's even like things of the nature of like there's different types of kids, right? And I think neurodiversity is also becoming such much more understood, and therefore more kids with different diagnoses. And I think it's so important to understand those and to be able to teach to your kids versus teaching to the masses, so to speak, and then expecting them to fit into this like equation or box that you are creating. You know, there is a way for them all to feel seen and heard, and that you're teaching to them individually.
Yeah, that makes sense. We are going to wrap up soon, but I do feel like I have at least one question, if not a couple. But do you feel like, obviously you're so passionate about dance education and that has not died. If anything, it's grown and you have even new areas of interest in it. Do you ever feel like you miss actually performing?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Okay.
I do. And I think, you know, if I could go back and think of doing things differently, I would have put into my daily schedule more of taking class every day, like starting the day with class or ending the day with class, performing, things of that nature before having, you know, my own children, because I do miss that. The last time that I performed like in an actual show, I was pregnant with my first, so that was a long time ago. I mean, I performed like randomly here and there, but like in a like actual show. So it has been a while. Yeah, I do. I miss it a lot. I'm honestly though, more so I miss taking class on the regular. I just feel it's so important for like your own creative voice, but also as an educator, you're giving constantly, like pouring out, and you have to refill it, whether it's through, for me, like currently it's like through Pilates and things of that nature. But if I could find ways and space in my schedule to take more dance classes, I would like love that. And not just in a class that like feels like in my wheelhouse, you know, like we'd even talked about maybe we would do a jazz class today. And I like purposely, I almost said yes, because I'm like, oh, that is in my wheelhouse, and be like sassy and whatnot. But at the same time, I knew that this would be a stretch for me to even just get my foot in the door. Because imposter syndrome is real, no matter how old you are, how seasoned you are. And so I hope that's okay that I kind of made that.
No,
made that decision.
We had a couple classes we were looking at, but everything sounded good to me. I was like, either of the ones would have probably been a challenge for me. Yeah. So, but what's like your favorite style to do?
Oh, it depends. Depends on my mood.
Okay.
Yeah. love jazz, like sass all the way. Jazz funk is also a really great place. I do love contemporary, but where it's like a mishmash. So when I say contemporary, it kind of depends on like the choreographer and their aesthetic. So it's like broad when I say that, you know?
Yeah. Do you still have like a love for ballet, or did you do it for so many years that you're like, I wouldn't probably go to a ballet class?
I think it's for me right now, I love it in watching it, and even watching my students take a ballet class. Teaching it is not, I think there's a lot of like emotional baggage that's there, to be honest, that I almost go into that place as a teacher. And that's something I need to work on. But I will say I did take a ballet class this summer for the first time in a few months. And it was the first time, I was so proud of myself. It was the first time, I had a little bit of a hip injury at the same time. So it's the first time I took a class knowing I'm not going to be at my full capability because of this, little thing I got going on, and accepting it and still rising to the occasion and not trying to push through and therefore injuring myself more or whatnot.
That's hard to do because it's kind of like, well, for me, because that has happened to me in the past too, where not with my main injury I had a long time ago, but like just a small injury. I'm like, I'm in my usual ballet class. I'm like, oh, am I still going to go when I know I can't kick my leg up here and I can't? And it's like humbling.
Yes.
Because not everybody knows you're injured, you know? But I think it says something to be able to like do that and accept it and just be where you're at that day.
And I find myself, I do need to get into ballet class more. I'm thinking this now because I think I found myself in this class going back to my old ways of just mimicking the teacher versus, again, going to that like body intuition and like, what do I need? How do I do it in a way that I know is proper for my body and what I've learned? And so, I will say after that ballet, I walked out of that ballet class feeling very full in a positive way. And I feel like maybe this is like something I need to work on, is continue to go back to kind of unpack some of maybe that unfortunate trauma that I experienced growing up, and make it a new story within this genre.
I love that. And you don't have to get into this, obviously we're wrapping it up, but like, was the trauma was it mostly because you really liked ballet, you worked so hard at it, but then you felt like that couldn't really be your path? Was that part of the trauma?
I think it was that. I think it was, back in the 90s, the idea of like emotional and mental safety was not really a priority as it is now. Yeah. I think if I went back now, starting again as a child, would be a very different experience, even if it was like the same studios, same type of thing, right? And so, so I think it's mostly the like emotional things. By no means do I have any sort of like major, but it's just it clearly sits heavy, because even when I think about going to class, I don't think about, I don't want to go because it's too hard. I go because I'm like, I like literally I feel the like heaviness in my chest a little bit, Yeah. The association.
Yeah. That's interesting. It would be cool to have like a redemptive experience with ballet and be like, oh wait, maybe I can break through this and like, stop having that association with it or whatever. But because obviously, clearly that was a lot of your life.
Yes, for sure.
I'm sure you were amazing at it and you worked really hard at it.
Well, and it's really funny too, because I think my hesitation of going back is mixed what we just talked about and but I used to be this good. And now I'm going in and I know I'm clearly not, right? And like, what does that mean? I already have imposter syndrome. I don't know, dancers out there, how many of us have imposter syndrome? I'm sure that's like it's real. And so I need to cross that line of bravery. Yeah. I'm declaring that right now.
Okay. Well, I am trying to take more ballet, but it's kind of far. What we should do is when I'm on the West Side, we should take a class at West Side together.
Accountability.
For sure. Partner. Because I'm going to try a studio that's closer to my house, which is super far from you.
Yes.
But sometimes I'm on the West Side and have you ever taken class at West Side Ballet? Oh my gosh, I love that place.
I know. I have students who are at my school that train there. I mean,
is that weird?
No.
Okay.
No.
I actually they have a separate kids.
I go to class with my students.
Nice.
I actually think that's like a unique. My school philosophy is very much on like relational, like teacher to student. It's like that developing that relationship. So like it's not a odd thing that we would do in class.
That's awesome.
Like, it's very
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to when we take ballet together. Okay. This is going to be great.
Yes, I would love that. Thanks for having me.
Wow. Yeah, this was awesome. Was there anything, I feel like we went through a lot of good stuff. Was there anything you were like, I wish we would have talked about this, or something you really wanted to say? Or
No.
so mostly, hopefully we'll get some time to take some more classes in the midst of, you have a lot going on. So we'll, it's understandable, but hopefully you can still get in more class sometimes. And then we'll see where your teaching journey, or your teaching of teachers journey goes. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I guess that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know I did. And now I know Chippy's dance story. And I guess thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.